And welcome back for another episode of the Lotus Cafe. Tonight, we're going to show you how to make a roasted chicken that's been brined, and there's herbs stuffed in it, and then we're going to have a side of some roasted butternut squash and carrots. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to prepare is we're going to preheat our oven to 350 degrees, and we have a chicken that's between 5 and 6 pounds here on our platter that I have already brined. You can see the short on the shorts tab in the Lotus Cafe channel. So check out how to do that brine, and then you can submerge your beauty in that brine, and you can follow along as such. Now what I've done is I've taken all of the lemons and the herbs that were in that brine, and I've stuffed them in the cavity already, because that's how I roll. Now how you're going to prepare this chicken is you're going to take a tablespoon of olive oil, which I have a tablespoon and a half because we're going to take half of the tablespoon that's in there after, and we're going to drizzle it over our vegetables and toss them. But that's a little later in the video. For right now, we're just going to concentrate on our clucker. Now, of course, we got our chicken from our local farmer, KC Farms. We love them. Shout out to John and Jamie. We love you guys. So we're going to take this chicken and we're going to first take a glove off because I make a mess if I don't. So I'm going to take my oil, and like I said, you're going to take about a tablespoon out of the 1.5 tablespoons, and you're just going to drizzle the skin and rub it in. That way your seasoning sticks nicely and it gives you a sweet golden color on that roasted chicken. You're going to be amazed how juicy this chicken is, I promise you. So I'm just going to drizzle a little more on the back of it. And we're going to set our oil aside because that's more than enough. It does not take a lot. And of course we use Villa Capelli here in the Lotus Cafe. So if you're inclined to get the cleanest olive oil on the market, go to villacapelli.com, and it is an amazing product. It comes out of Puglia, Italy, and no, we are not being paid to say this. We just truly believe in this product here in Casa Lotus and the Lotus Cafe. So now that we have our chicken all rubbed with that beautiful olive oil, it's time to season it. So the first spices we're going to use, because it's already been in a salted brine, we're going to grab some garlic powder. We're just going to give a little sprinkle over the top, like that. And then we're going to take some pepper, fresh ground of course, because is there any other? Just sprinkle it over that side of the chicken. Now you can put butter under the skin if you like. Some people do, some people don't. I don't. I prefer to just oil the skin because the brine makes the meat nice and juicy. So now we've got our onion powder, and that's a teaspoon of garlic, a half a teaspoon of salt, or excuse me, black pepper, and then a teaspoon of garlic. Excuse me, onion, wow. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to take a tablespoon of our no salt Costco seasoning and just dust it over the chicken. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this chicken over, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So now that we have our chicken all seasoned, we're going to take this rack that's elevated above our roasting pan, and we're just going to pick our chicken up. I like picking it up this way by the skin that it has. We're just going to set it on that rack like that. Move this out of the way so y'all can see. So we've set it on this elevated rack. That way it'll cook nice and evenly. Just give some pats to my chicken here. Make sure that seasoning gets all over all of that beautiful flesh. And again, as we always say, season till the ancestors say, whoa, if you don't think there's enough seasoning on your chicken, get on it. Season it until your own ancestors say, well, matter of fact, I might do the same here with a little bit extra of this no salt seasoning that I have from Costco. So we're just going to dust it over because you can't ever have too much seasoning in my opinion. So we're going to take this and we're going to put a loose tent over it, and we're going to prepare it for 2 hours in the oven, and in about the last half hour we're going to untent it. So we'll see you in about, I don't know, 2 hours. Okay, so now that our chicken's been in the oven for about an hour and a half, we're going to get our veggies ready. So we've just got some salt and pepper here, our carrots, our squash, and the half a tablespoon of olive oil that we held out earlier. So I'm just going to grab a bowl and I'll be right back. So now that I've got my bowl, I'm just going to add my carrots and my squash. Now that's about 6 to 8 carrots and 1 medium-sized butternut squash. Then there's that that half tablespoon of olive oil, just drizzling it over the squash. I like to literally take and scoop it out because, yeah, that's good stuff. And you're just going to toss that squash carrot mixture in with the oil. You don't want it saturated, just a very light coating. Now that we've got our vegetables tossed with our olive oil, we're just going to take a medium-sized sheet pan with parchment paper. Now, the best way to deal with parchment paper, for if you've never dealt with it, it is one of the most aggravating kitchen tools there is. But I found a great little hack that I think I even saw here on YouTube, where you take the parchment paper, scrunch it up into a ball, and then flatten it back out, and it'll behave for you. So that's what we've done here on our pan. So we're just going to take our vegetables, we're just going to pour them out in a single layer on our baking sheet. All that orange goodness there. And then we're just going to take some salt. And some pepper. Now that our vegetables are generously seasoned, we're going to take our sheet tray, we're going to put it in the oven along with our chicken. So I'm just going to turn the chicken so that both the pan and the roaster can fit in there. And I know you're getting a wonderful shot of my oven door. I apologize, folks. Here we go. Slide that in alongside the chicken. Now, that's going to roast for the remaining 30 to 40 minutes that you have for your chicken. And then we'll be back to temp it out and see what it looks like. Okay, so we've got about 30 minutes before our timer is going to go off for our bird. So we're just going, I've pulled it out of the oven. We're just going to take the tent off of it so that we can make sure it's nice and golden brown. Ooh, look at that. It's so beautiful. But it has to go back in the oven. So we're going to put it back in without the foil on, and we'll see you in about 30 minutes. Okay, so the timer just went off, and we pulled our chicken and our vegetables out, and we're just going to temp our chicken really quick. So we're going to turn our thermometer on. We have it set to our poultry setting. Hopefully you can see that. And at a 165, she will be ready, or when you hear the beep. And there we are. She is definitely ready to rock. Now I do want a little bit more caramelization on these vegetables. So I'm going to throw those in the oven, and I'm going to put them on the broiler. So we're just going to hit the off button on the oven. We're going to put the high broiler on. And then we're going to just throw these veggies right in there and give them a moment or two to caramelize. Okay, so we've just pulled our vegetables out from the broiler, and they're perfectly firm but not too hard, and they have nice little scorch marks on them. So we're going to get ready to dig in. Okay, so there you have it. We've roasted our chicken and let it rest for 10 minutes, and we've caramelized our carrots and butternut squash in the oven. So thank you for joining us on the Lotus Cafe. We will see you next time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. That way you'll be notified anytime we drop a short or a video. And we'll continue to heal the world one recipe at a time.